go.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in for episode 1 of One-on-One Shots. Normally, in one of my streams, this is the part when I start yelling like people are kicking in the doors and everything's on fire, but I'm going to soft sell it just this once. Just this once. What we're doing here is I want to do something new, honestly. You get to see a lot of streams, a lot of times people are playing. Thank you for tuning in and making it possible to do what we do. And it occurred to me that it probably would be cool to like gather some people that you might know and just kind of talk with them a little bit and also play a little bit and just sort of kind of simulate what it's like to kind of hang out and be around the table. So the first, the bravest, the most wonderful person who volunteered to be a guinea pig for this project, Mr. Matthew Lillard. Thank you, sir.
Hey.
You are, first of all, I love the fact that you are like a super humble dude, but this is me trying to be good and not just rain accolades on you and redden your face. I will ask you the simple question, where do you think these fine people know you from?
Well, I mean, the streaming generation's way younger than the kids, the people that grew up on my movies. So I don't know. I mean, look, I've been around for so long. If you don't know who I am, I mean, some of you may not know who I am. I'm an actor. I've been in a bunch of movies. I played Shaggy in Scooby-Doo. I was in Scream. I'm on a show right now called Good Girls on NBC. So I've been around for a long time. I've done it for 30 years. So when it comes to like me and my career, I'm always shocked how people know me or people find me. But I've done a lot of really terrible movies over the course of 30 years. And a lot of them are like little gems that people hold on to. Like 13 Ghosts is a movie that's a terrible movie by all accounts. But like you find people out there that are voracious fans of it. And so I don't know. I don't know how people find me, but I'm that thing where along the way, you either found me in this weird movie or that weird movie, but somehow if you know me, that's how you generally know me.
And now you have also started transitioning into doing more of the public gaming type stuff. Yeah. Also, like gotta give an early shout out to Beadland Grimm's.
Yeah. We'll take that. We'll take all shout outs at any time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, please.
No, it's weird. Online gaming is a thing that I just never really. I'm not really sure how I'm here. I don't know how I got here. Like I just keep saying yes because I love gaming. I love playing, and so every time someone says, "Hey, you want to play in the stream?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll play." And now it's got to the point where I've actually started shutting down opportunities because there's a lot of games, a lot of streaming, a lot of opportunities. But it's super fun. It's a different way of. I like playing around different tables and figuring out how people play. And we played together this last week, and I love the way you play. You're super energetic, and you make big choices and strong characters. And I love the way you play. So you asked me, and I'm like, yeah, I'll jump in that game, no doubt.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And today we are doing something a little different. Before I go on too far, I do want to give the official pinky up plug to Beadland Grimm's. You all make it is high quality D&D accessories, right? And box sets and things that go along with the adventures.
Yeah, so we create boxed editions of Dungeons and Dragons releases. So we've done, I think, 5 boxes at this point. We have a couple more boxes coming out this year. And basically what we do is we create limited edition boxed experiences around their fall release. And then we've done a couple other smaller releases around their small releases. But our belief, there's 5 of us that started the company. Our belief is that if we can give you all the elements you need to have an immersive game, your game will get better and you'll have a better time. And so we create basically high-end game enhancements.
You know what's funny is I am just a fiend for the old box sets. In fact, right over there, I'm not going to rotate the camera because my studio is just a wreck. But there's a stack of I think 7 old box sets. The old D&D ones. Let me see. I got the Rod of Seven Parts, Dragon Mountain, Night Below, which is my very favorite one ever. Council of Worms, that one was dope, where you were the dragons. Mystaria, that was a low-key one. Yeah. Tale of the Comet. I don't know if you remember Tale of the Comet. That's the one where there's an alien invasion in D&D.
Sure. Isn't that like, isn't the picture of that the sky over the desert, or no?
Yeah, in like a UFO is coming down, and like dwarves are running away from it. Yeah.
Right.
Although ironically enough, even though we're nerding out about D&D, and we would keep nerding out about D&D, we're actually not playing D&D today.
Which I'm really excited about, because I game on D&D all the. I mean, we game that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you said any game, any system, any character, and I was like, dude, I've never played Vampire. I know that you are huge in the vampire world, and so I thought, what better way to learn the game than by you?
Well, I appreciate that. And let me just say one other thing, y'all, for the people who are watching. I'm not monitoring Twitch chat in real time. However, if you have a question that you'd like me to ask Matthew, write it in chat with a capital question. And either if the mods see something dope, mods, you can filter it to me through chat, or we're going to take a break at about the midway point. I'll scroll through. If I see something dope, I'll pull it out, and we'll talk about it. So just put the word question in all caps in front of it here. So yeah, we chose to play some vampire, and we talked about your character, and who are you going to be bringing to join us today?
So Josiah Rockwell is the character I'm playing. Do you want me to go into his backstory and talk a little about who he is as a person, or do you want?
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about him before we dive into his world here. I hit him with an AoE stun there. I'm like, boom. I don't know if you guys can still hear Matthew. For me, he is frozen. And I'm just going to keep rambling here. And if something's wrong, I'm sure Q Times will tell me, because maybe it is I. Maybe it is I who am frozen.
No, it looks like Matt is frozen. He's got an internet issue.
He will be back in a second, but I will just talk to y'all in the meantime until he came back. Yep, he just texted me. Yep. Oh, somebody tripped over the internet cord. Haha. He'll be back with us momentarily. Yeah, so I will say this, because I'm super stalling in the meantime, but I'll stall with some relevant stuff. Yeah, again, I think the reason why I wanted to do this show is now more than ever, people kind of got some time on their hands, and I just felt it was neat to kind of feel like maybe you feel you're spending your afternoon just like chatting with some friends of yours, and getting caught up and learning some things about them that you might not know. And he and I were chatting ahead of starting here, and hang on, yep. Sorry, y'all. He's texting me frantically. I'm just letting him know that there's no rush, Broseph. Just get back when you can. We were talking about some things, and I was like, wait, we're asking each other questions. And I'm like, hold on, save that for when the camera's rolling and like the people can experience it. It is a great time for vampire content, because it's funny, because a lot of people have been playing D&D, and those are the games that you know them for. And while we're talking about this, are actually wanting to play some vampire. So I think I have 12 of these things scheduled. I'm very much like ink slow boating, saying who's going to be on when, because I might have to move some pieces around, but I think some people that you're really going to enjoy having on here. We are definitely going to do some D&D, but a lot of people want to spend some time in the dark nights of the world of darkness. And if you didn't see it on Fridays on twitch.tv/levelupdice, we're doing Anarchs of New York. I started the Anarchs of New York play-by-post thread to, again, expressly to just give you something to do while you're home. Something you could kind of tune in with, where I'm writing the story, and every once in a while I just put up polls of what our neonate character should do. And Level Up Dice approached me about doing a sort of introductory level vampire stream for them, and that is what we chose to do with it. I think Matthew is coming back. I see him off to the side, but he hasn't rejoined my screen yet. Matthew, can you hear me, sir?
I hear you. So sorry about that.
Don't worry about it, man.
I thought it was a good idea to push my computer back just a little to get away from the close-up, and that's what just happened.
No, give it. We want pores. We want HD, man.
We want
to.
So terrible.
Like we want the full Oz the Great and Powerful floating head thing.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. That was embarrassing. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm old. If you're out there in the world, I'm old. That was terrible.
You know what that was? You had the audacity to speak ill of 13 Ghosts, and they just rolled through. Like, how about now? Yeah. They're like, now you got no internet. Nobody's happy. But you were in the process of introducing us to Josiah. So, Mr. Josiah Rockwell.
So, Josiah Rockwell. So, do you want me to go into sort of who he is and his character, or?
I want you to share literally whatever you want, man.
Yeah,
you can say now. Some of it's gonna emerge and play. Just lay it on us.
Okay, good. So Josiah. So first of all, I've never played the game, which I'm excited about digging into, and so it was nice to try to get into the world and try to. I mean, I dug in as much as I could in a short amount of time, but like the archetypes of the clans and all of that. So I like the idea. I mean, for me in gaming. I like the idea of playing something a little outside the box. So Beetle and Grimm's is based on a character. So I play the character of Beetle, and he's a high dex dwarf thief. So I like somebody weird. I like a little outside the character. It's like sort of stereotype. And so for this, I went with like a 55, like an older vampire. His name's Josiah Rockwell. He is a man who was the dean. He was born in 1920. He was the dean of, he was one of the youngest deans in the history of Berkeley around the 70s. And he, or before that, he was a young dean, and he lost his wife, and then he lost 2 of his 3 children to terminal disease. One was brain cancer, and what was the other one? That was leukemia. And through that process, he became somebody who became like engaged in and was working at this hospice, and was touched by a man who basically taught him the beauty of transitioning into the afterlife, the beauty of life into death, and was sort of and changed Josiah's like sort of point of view. So he stopped wanting to be this this Illuminati or this educator, or which he had grown beyond that. He was no longer an educator. He was now like a dean. So he's a political figure, and he had gotten lost in what he loved. And when he found this sort of this man, that the man's name was Matthew, who transitioned, who helped they called him the angel of death, because he would transition these people into death in a beautiful way. He left being a dean and decided to become a hospice nurse. Like leave like his life of accomplishment and kind of go back to his humble roots, and started to learn the beauty of transitioning these people. So it's in that in living in sorrow and living with, he has severe case of depression at times. He's bipolar, so he's struggling. He's manically trying to save the world, and then rocked to the depths of despair. And so within that, his one surviving daughter, who was a vampire herself, transitioned him. Is that I don't know if that's right to say it. Embraced, but yes. Embraced him into the life of a vampire. He became a kindred, right, in Kindred, and began to walk in the 70s as a vampire. And through his journey, he has struggles. He has lots of struggles. He's a man, he's a vampire now that is always either trying to save the world and trying to bring the kindred world together as a leader of this world, or he's like just trying to pull himself out of the gutter. I mean, his swings are crippling, really crippling. And he finds himself with a deep addiction to gambling. And that's not only money and financially. Like if you challenge him, Dave, he's going to take the challenge because he wants that bet. He wants that engagement. Win or lose, he's going to give it everything he can. And that he finds himself in these huge swings. And he's a man that longs for the life he used to have, for the simplicity of his wife and him playing Scrabble in the East Bay. Like the idea of like sitting around and drinking a glass of wine and making lazy sex to his wife as he falls asleep. I mean, that's what he longs for. And he now is this monster who, still works at the hospital. And now he barters with people. He barters with them in terms of transitioning people to living. There are times in his life where he will use his powers to give somebody the afterlife and lead them into the embrace. And he's a monster that way. He'll manipulate that situation, and it haunts him. It haunts him. But he's good at it. And he's a leader in the Kindred world. He's a leader. He's like trying to rise up and bring people together under his leadership. But he's damaged.
This is incredible stuff, and I think even as we were sort of talking about this, because we came about this approach almost in reverse, because again, I knew you weren't ultra familiar with the game, so I didn't want to like burden you with a ton of jargon. And as we were just talking about, well, who do you see this person? What's he like? Obviously, Clan Malkavian was a fantastic fit. For what you were saying. I did put a very impromptu survey of the internet there, and I think most of them thought you were either going to come down on Malkavian or Toreador, which are the artists in the creative types. But I think this is really incredible, and it's for people that aren't familiar with Vampire, especially the people that are tuning in and are only familiar with your work on D&D. Vampire is a storytelling game of personal horror. At the end of the day, what the game is about is you are a monster and you don't want to be. There are fundamental aspects of who you were that you are losing under the crushing weight of decades and centuries of being a predatory creature that you struggle to hold on to and retain in any way that you can, knowing that in many ways, ultimately, that is futile. In many ways, that the time and tide of existence is going to take some things from you that you desperately want to hold on to. So, with that being said, let's tell a vampire story.
Yeah, yes. I attack you, Dave. I attack.
Roll initiative. Joke's on you. There is no initiative. So you're like, but I'm so fast, even though I'm a dwarf.
I'm fast.
Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
April 20th, 2020. A little later in the day than it is now because it is dark, of course. But it is a raining and cool evening in the city of Angels. And Dr. Josiah Rockwell, you find yourself driving in the night to a familiar destination that you've spent far more hours in than you would even like to admit to yourself. Where is it that you're headed?
I'm sorry to say that I got in my car and I wanted to go to the grocery store. I wanted to just go and get Staples, maybe a 6-pack of beer and go back to the house. And I just kept driving down the 10 freeway to the Temple, which is this underground Yakuza-run Chinese gambling establishment that has all forms of gambling. And again, I win. I don't remember a single win, but all those losses haunt me. And I know tonight, I can feel it in the rain. My bones ache that I am going to win tonight. I'm gonna go play poker.
As you drive down an exit in inner Chinatown under the familiar archway with the golden dragon carved over it, Chinatown is an interesting mix of cultures. It is overtly, almost gaudily Chinese just on the surface, where it very much just tries to beat you in the face with like, look, you're in Chinatown. But once you get past that initial surface patina on it. Underneath it, just off to the side, just off the side of the way, there are some real legit authentic things set like so many tourist strips in so many places, just set off to the side. If you kind of make a couple of turns and know which way to look and how to read the signs, you can find almost anything there. And hidden from the glowing neon milieu that so many people are finding themselves in, standing out, taking selfies, watching lion dancers in the middle of the street, you know that when you turn and you enter the back of the restaurant is the entrance to the temple. And as you approach, a tall, suited man stands outside and nods at you. Mr. Rockwell.
Jimmy Chan.
Feeling lucky tonight, sir?
Always. I always feel lucky. I smile. I give him a big. Is he kindred or is he immortal?
You know him to be a ghoul. A ghoul is a human being that is still alive, but has been given some kindred vitae, and along with that, gained some power. He would be no match for you, but is still a very capable security guard.
Oh, good. Okay, good. I'll say to him, Jimmy, anything I should know about tonight? Anyone interested in the house?
Well, he sort of kind of looks around for a second, like there's something he feels like he's not supposed to say. He like kind of, Mr. Rockwell, I don't mean to be offensive, you know, because it's not my place, but you kind of helped me out in that jam with my mom, and I never forgot that, Mr. Rockwell. I'm never gonna forget what you did for me. You know those people that you owe some money to, the Italians from down in Long Beach,
right?
I think they might be sniffing around tonight. I think they might be looking for you.
Good to know. I appreciate it, Jimmy.
And he very much like stiffens, like, you know, yeah. So,
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, B, in this moment, how deep am I in with the Italians?
You know,
I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's uncomfortable.
You're just like a couple of nights from breaking even. Like, you know, you hit a little bit of a dry patch. It's just, you know, it might be 70. It's nothing. It's nothing, Rockwell. It's nothing.
It's nothing. But it's not like, hey, next time I see you, I'm breaking your legs. It's not like I'm leaving right now.
You don't think that by walking in this door it's a death trap, but it's not a positive thing if they sent someone in person.
So I'm gonna leave. So I'm gonna turn on my heels. I'm gonna walk away. I'm gonna get down to the end. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back under the arch. I'm gonna start walking past all the tourists and the lanterns hanging. And I'm just gonna, in the back of my mind, my mind's just gonna start racing, and my mouth's gonna start salivating. And I know
there's the car. You can go. Yeah, you could freedom. It's right there.
If I don't go back, but if I don't go back, I'm gonna do something bad. It's that thing where I'm like, dude, I need something to happen tonight, and who knows? And I don't like being in that position. So here's the deal. I'm going to turn on my heels and I'm going to go back. And I'm going to make the choice that whenever the Italians come to me, I'm going to give them whatever's on the table in front of me. And I'm going to give it to them. I'm going to walk away. I'm probably going to be up. It's going to be the end of my night. But if it's 20 G's or 30 G's, I'm just going to hand it to them. And I'm going to turn on my heels and I'm going to walk out a winner tonight, no matter what. No matter what, tonight's the night I go home winner.
When you leave and you sort of pace back and forth, kind of as the rain is drizzling a little bit.
Yeah.
And what does Josiah Rockwell look like? What's he look like? What's he wearing?
Yeah, he's 55, right? And he's got like a full. He's let me put this together. What does he look like? He's kind of like he's kind of like a badass Santa Claus. He's 6'4". He's a big guy, right? He's 55, so he's got a little weight on him, but you could see he used to be sort of jacked. He's not to be trifled with, and he's got like a dark pair of glasses on that sort of like go with the light, but they're always like they should be clear glasses, but they still got that little sort of like badass tint, a little old man badass tint, and he's got a black turtleneck. Like a killer Armani like suit and the black turtleneck. Now the black turtleneck is something from like a leftover from the 80s. Like he's just not cool. Like there are other guys that he's gonna be around that are cool, but this is like cool from the 80s, 90s. Yeah, and he's got like a big beard. He's got like a big sort of perfectly coiffed beard, and he's got like long white hair that's braided in this long ponytail. So he's kind of like Karl Lagerfeld, but badass. Like an undead Karl Lagerfeld.
You sort of pace back and forth, and you're like, I could go. Like, no, they can't. No. You sort of like hype yourself back up a little bit. And as you kind of come back looking fully intent, when Jimmy sees you a second time, you see something flash in his eyes. Now, you, Dr. Rockwell, are a student of humanity. You're a student of these sort of things. So we're going to roll your wits and your insight. But before we do this, there's an important step that we need to do. Okay. So I know you're rolling with D10s there. So you need one set of dice that is a different color that are going to be your blood dice. When you wake up for the night, every night, you have to roll one of these to see if you start off hungrier than usual. So the first thing we're going to do is roll one of these blood dice.
I'm very happy to say that this is the Beetle and Grimm's dice that we just did with Wormwood.
Well, there you go.
And they're blood red.
There you go. Perfect.
So I'm rolling going for high. Go ahead.
For this, 1 to 5 is a failure. 6 to 10 is a success.
Is success keeping your appetite under control?
Yes.
Okay. Is a 5.
So you wake up a little hungrier already. Okay. So when you greet the night, something is already clawing at you a little bit stronger. That's when you wake up.
Back around. I would have if I won, I would have gone home.
Yep. No, it's the beast wants what it wants. So now when we're assembling your dice pool, you are going to replace 2 of the regular dice with 2 of these red dice. As your hunger increases, you'll get more red dice. And as the more of those we call them blood dice, the more blood dice you're rolling, the more likely you're going to get some unintended negative consequence, because that reflects the beast is starting to take over.
Oh, I like that.
So for you in particular, you are going to roll a combination of your wits, which is 3, and your insight, which is 3. So you're going to roll. I'm going to refer to them as black and red. I don't know what color you're actually rolling. So 4 black dice and 2 red dice.
Okay.
And you're going to roll those, and you're going to tell me if you get any 1s or any. Well, 1 to 5 is a failure, but a 1 is a botch. 6 to 10 is a success, but a 10 is a crit.
So I have my blood dice is a crit. My 2 blood dice are a success. 1's a crit.
Okay.
And then all of my dice, I have a 7, 7, 6, and a 5. So 3 successes, 1.
3 success. Okay. So the crits, you need 2 crits for that to count. So that's going to be, I believe, 4 total successes. That's 4 that are above 10, right? From what you said?
Yeah. The red dice, that's 5 above 10.
5 above 10. Okay. So 5 is significant success.
Okay.
You come around the corner, and when Jimmy looks at you, you see disappointment flash across his face.
Ah, damn it.
He thought you were gonna.
His wording.
Yeah. He didn't say. I mean, again, it's a fraction of a second. It's only because you know, but you get that split second of like.
Yeah. All right. As we go back in, anything else in this situation out of this roll that I'm ascertaining? It's not. Nothing else. I'm not gathering anything else from that roll.
No, with it was enough to clock that reaction. I mean, he's yes.
Personally say, I'll go as I go back in. I'll pull out a 50.
Mm-hmm.
I hand it to him. I'm like, Jimmy, don't worry, I'm fine, and I'll go in.
Hopefully, you're rolling high tonight. Thank you, sir. I'll keep an eye on things.
Yeah. Hey, if something, I'll go back to him.
Mm-hmm.
If something's going on you think I should know about, do me a favor. Send me a soda pop at the table.
I'll do it, sir. I'll do it. I'll get Cindy to bring it by. She always likes you.
Yeah. Okay.
And he leans over and there's a heavy metal door that he doesn't open. He hits twice. Boom, boom. Waits a beat. Boom. And you hear, and the door slides open. And you are greeted with the familiar sense of a domestic cleaners, which is the front for this place. That initial gust of steam and bleach, sure. Which is it is pleasing in a Pavlovian sense that you know what that means. Like,
sure, yeah. Like all of a sudden, my senses start kicking, my adrenaline. I can just feel the thump, 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 thump in my neck. Like the adrenaline starts to kick, and I quicken my pace a little. I wait, I sort of give the hellos to everyone as I'm moving through. I'm very familiar where I'm at, and my adrenaline starts to just tick that much faster.
You come in, and actually, it seems fairly quiet so far. Normally, Sunday is it's always a mixed bag. Maybe the weather's keeping some people in. It's about 9 people in here. You think? They're all.
What's it look like downstairs? Could you just paint me a picture of what I see?
When you come in, it is the walls are actually fairly bare concrete because this was an old structure that was somewhat hastily constructed, probably in the 50s. But someone has taken the time to try and make that as classy as they possibly can. So even though the walls are this raw concrete, there are very expensive silks hung on the walls. There are those standing barricades that you can almost make for privacy for ladies to change behind in the past, silk screens and things that are set up along the walls. There is the smell of cigar smoke and opium.
Yeah,
there's a couple of opium pipes that you see old men sitting in the corner smoking, looking wizened with age, and a handful of smaller tables and private tables with the dealers, and right in the middle is the big action table. And you see all the lights are low, and the tables are set just far enough apart where you can't really hear what people are saying without having to strain. Right. This is a place where all sorts of business is getting done.
Is the clarinet player in the corner playing away?
Mm-hmm. When you come in, he starts playing your song. What is it that he knows Josiah likes?
It's summertime. Summertime with a little porky.
He goes right into it.
So, yeah, it's beautiful. I'll make sure I go by and flip him a 50.
He just winks at you.
Yeah, and is my so I have a favorite dealer. I don't know if we talked about this a little, but Samantha is my favorite dealer. Any chance she's on the big table, or is she on one of the smaller tables?
Samantha is on one of the smaller action tables, but they rotate every hour or so. They so all the people have a chance at the action. Right now she's kind of off to the side, running a small game.
So my decision, my mental decision, I'm gonna go sit at the small table, and as I see the action start to, maybe somebody wins a big hand at the big table. My adrenaline, that 5 on my blood dice. You know what? I'll see Stan whenever she gets there. And my move is the big table. Before I make that move to go gamble with the big table, looking around, the Italians, anyone standing out? I mean, do I see Johnny Two Legs or?
Give me your wits and awareness. So same thing. We're going to assemble your wits, which is 3, and your awareness, which is 4. You're a very keen guy. And again, replace 2 of those with the blood dice.
So 2. So I'm making 3 and 4 with 2 blood dice and all. Okay, go.
Yeah, still 7 total dice.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I got 8, 6, 8, a 4, a 5. One of my blood dice is a fail. My other blood dice is a 5.
Okay,
and
so
then out of that, I have 4 successes.
4 successes. As you look around,
so be real quick, just so we're clear. So when I'm rolling blood dice, it's a normal success or failure with the blood dice, correct?
So what it is, yes, it is a normal success or failure with the blood dice. It's just when you botch on those or crit on those in particular, something different happens.
Okay, great. Okay,
if it happens, I'll tell you then. But that's why I specify. It is specifically when it's a 1 or a 10 on those.
Copy that. Okay, good. That's good to know. I'll just give you the straight up success and fail. So I have 4 successes, 1 5, and 5's a fail, right?
5 is a fail. Yep. So 4 successes.
3 fails.
As you sort of approach Samantha's table, and then you kind of like shift towards the big action. When you sort of like look back and forth, she looks at you and she turns and makes a point to stare at someone who is over by the opium table just for a second and then goes right back down to dealing.
Oh, easy to pick up. I see it. Who am I looking at? Do I know him?
This guy looks young, kind of twitchy. I mean, he could be Italian, you know, he looks sort of, you know, Mediterranean-ish dark hair, but you've never seen the guy before. He is wearing a suit, but it is probably off the rack. It is not ill-fitting. Again, someone that spent the time that you've seen here is you think he's probably a new mid-range soldier, basically. You've never seen this guy before.
Okay, so in this moment, we didn't talk about weapons and what I have on me or what I don't have on me. We talked a little about the fact. Go ahead.
You have a reasonable expectation that you would have been allowed to bring your gun in here. Joey did not, or Jimmy did not shake you down at the door, but you also know probably lots of people in this room have guns on them.
Okay.
It's that kind of place.
Right, and a blade. Like I have like a little, like a small, like a little, like what are these things called? The curved.
The karambit.
Yes.
You're with you loop the ring through your pinky so you don't drop it. The karambit.
Yeah.
A gentleman's weapon.
Yes, exactly. Okay, I've got that.
I love it a lot.
Just so you know, it's on my back. Okay, good.
Have a little something back there.
Yeah. So,
you see, this guy is he is drinking what you presumably looks like a Long Island iced tea, maybe. He stirs a little bit and drink, and he is very clearly trying to seem inconspicuous, which makes him more conspicuous.
Yeah. Okay. Is he immortal?
You actually don't know. So 2 things. There is theoretically no way of knowing a kindred is a kindred just by looking at them. It's funny, I've said before, the game kind of makes 2 different points in 2 different times. And on the one hand, it says there's no way to know. But on the other hand, it says that you're clearly a corpse and anyone that gets close to you knows it. So it goes back and forth. But ostensibly, no. However, you have a power called Sense the Unseen, which allows you to see auras around living things. And the way I always rule that power is kindred auras are very dull and muted. So if you activate your Sense the Unseen, you may be able to find out more about this guy.
So I will do that. Is that an action like in D&D? Would that be an action that I have to take?
So in Vampire is storytelling driven. So the rounds are far more It is more conceptual in the sense that for the most part you do a thing and other people do things, but it's like it is not so fixed as it's exactly 6 seconds. So it very much is the type of thing you just choose to look at the guy. Now, normally, since the unseen in and of itself does not require a roll, but I'm going to get you to roll because we're going to see how much you see.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my roll of cash, and I'm going to go buy chips for the night of gambling.
How much are you holding? How much did Josiah bring with him?
Well, I was going to only bring 5, but the last second on my way to the grocery store, I just thought to myself, look, I'll get a 6-pack. You never know when the night's going to go and what's going to happen. So I pulled 10 out of my safe under my bed. And then I always have like another 5 in the car if I need it. So right now I have 10, and in general I always go with half my stack in chips, and then go if I need it, which I sometimes do. Most time I don't, because I usually win. Win.
Except when you don't, Josiah.
Except when I don't. I almost always win, but. So what I'll do is this time I'm not going to do 5. I'm going to do the whole 10. I'm going to cash out the whole 10. And when I'm cashing out the whole 10, I'm going to do a perception check on them.
There is a grandmotherly old woman who you have never heard speak a word. You have seen her cash out action from $10 up to somebody laying down $100,000. It is all the same to her. She definitely cashes it out, clears her hands for the camera, and pushes your chips to you and turns it back over. But how big of chips do you want? Do you split it down into tens? Are you going hundreds? Are you going thousands? Like, how big of a stack is Josiah walking away with?
I don't want to. My intention, just so we're clear, my intention is always to be responsible.
Of course.
The problem is sometimes when you get hot, and things, sometimes that streak, I just got to learn to cut the streak.
Beasts we are, less beasts we become. Yes.
So let's just say he's going to go 10s. He's going to go 20. He'll go 25s and 50s.
So you break it up. You have change. You don't walk away with $10,000 chips.
We'll be here for a while.
Okay, you break it up. So you roll for me your wits in your auspex, which is going to be 4 dice. I've looked for you. So it's going to be two black and 2 red. Again, now the way this power works, the power just works. I'm asking you to roll again to see the extent to which you can see.
Yeah, sure. So I have 2 successes, 1 crit on the red, but I need to roll 2 crits on the red.
2 crits. Or 2 crits on any 2 dice, but yes, but you do need 2.
Yeah. So 2 successes, 2 fails.
As you look over in the direction of that guy, there is something different about him that you can't quite place. He rolled very, very poorly in his attempt at hiding things. So even with your 2 successes, you know what? Hang on a second. Actually, let me do something else here. Okay. That almost went poorly. And by poorly, I mean great for me. While he's looking, you notice that he keeps nursing this Long Island, but he's not actually drinking it. And you notice right behind him, just over his shoulder, is a very thick black shadow. It looks like the shadow of a person. At first, you're like, oh, it's his shadow, but it isn't. It's a little bit taller than him. It's kind of slightly to the side and slightly behind him. And while he's sort of like head on a swivel, you notice the shadow turns and it looks right at you.
Okay. So in my understanding of Kindred and the Occult, what am I looking at? Am I looking at a shadow wraith? Am I looking at a demon? What is this?
I'm not going to make you roll for this one because this would be fairly common knowledge for someone in your circles. You know there is a particular clan known as the Giovanni. that have a lot of stake in gambling and organized crime and things of that nature. In some, Giovanni are capable of summoning and controlling wraiths. So spirits of various purposes, yes.
Okay.
But, however, you also notice as you're looking at that guy that the shadow is right behind. He's got an aura that a mortal would have. Otherwise, it is fairly unremarkable. Like if not for this shadow next to him, you would think, oh, that's just it's a guy. You know,
right.
Like the shadow that's with him as far as the conspicuous part of this. But
right,
he seems to be a human being, living human.
Okay. Can I fight a shadow? Can I fight a wraith?
You don't think there's really much you could do. However, you also know that it can't necessarily do a ton to you either. You need very powerful wraiths to be able to manifest in the physical world and manifest effects. Usually they're good for sentries and alarms and spies. And some of them can possess a physical body, and when they take that body, they can do anything a person can do. So if they take over someone who's got a gun, then sure, they can shoot you. But the actual wraiths themselves usually cannot do too much directly to affect you, but you also can't do too much directly to affect it.
Okay, I'm going to as he looks at me, I'll get my chips and I'm going to give him like a nod. Oh, you just went mute.
Yeah, I was trying to dramatically show him the drink. I didn't say anything. That was my dramatic Long Island iced tea drinking.
I was like, oh my God, he's going to pull his sword out of his computer.
No, it's going around. It was I who spoke ill of the ghosts. No, he very clearly tries to
Okay.
like he didn't see you.
Okay, good. And that was to the wraith. I was doing that.
Oh, it's to the wraith.
I am now no longer interested in the human at all. The only thing I'm interested in is the wraith that's watching over the human to either make sure he's doing a good job or to babysit this kid, whatever he's doing.
When you look at the wraith, it just tilts its head slightly, and you very clearly hear.
Matt Lillard is terrified of that sound, but I don't know if Josiah is. Dr. Josiah Rockwell is like, he'll, in that moment, as he's doing that back, I'll go, and I'll just flash my fangs for a second. And I'll, I'll be ready for whatever he's got. Do you know what I mean? Like, say, if he challenges me, fuck that, dude.
When you bare your fangs a little bit,
I should not be cussing. Should I be cussing?
No, it's fine. No, it's that kind of stream. Trust me.
Okay.
When you do that, the guy in front of him, like with the start, literally like drops his drink. Like, sorry, hey. Sorry, you're Rockwell, right? You're Rockwell.
Yeah, I'm Rockwell.
I got sent up here to have a word with you. I was waiting until you got done. You know, I didn't want to disturb your night, sir.
It's too late for that, isn't it? I'll tell you what. Why don't you and your friend do yourself a favor? Let me do my business. Stay out of my way. The last thing you want is trouble. Do you understand?
Yeah. It's just later, there are some people that want a word with you. And when he says that, his eyes turn jet black. Not just the whites of his eyes, the entire socket fills in with black pools.
Oh,
which you are familiar is another aspect of oblivion. It's what allows the Giovanni and people that master this power to be able to see and interact with spirits. It is a non-subtle calling card. He just looks at you for a second and then he just kind of blinks it away.
Understood.
he looks down and he picks up the glass and he's like, "Where are my manners? My mother would be so embarrassed." And he just like
so many reasons.
he just sort of he's like, we'll talk after. I'll just be over here.
All right, this is getting. I just didn't have this need to win. I would have been home already tonight, and he's already vexed me, and I'm about to sit at a table, and the kids piss me off, and now my whole night is ruined, and now I gotta go bigger and stronger and faster, and that's not how I like to play the game. That's not how I like to play the game, and this kid has really shit on my parade. So I sit down with a bunch of attitude on me and a desperation to win because I know where I'm going and I know what's happening and it's not good.
When you sit down at the table, you sit down just in time to see a guy raking some chips in. Like, hey, all right. You hate this guy. His name is Melvin. He's like a furniture salesman or insurance, like that. Just this guy, and he's like, "Hey, Joey Rock," and you hate it when he calls you Joey Rock, which he knows you hate it, and he's like, "How you doing, Joey Rock?" Hey, and he flips you a $5 chip, and he's like, "There you go, drinks on me, buddy. I'm hot tonight. I'm hot."
Oh, God, Dave, I suck his blood immediately. You're
like, cool.
I immediately am interested in death in general. I'm gonna officially add another red dice because I'm so angry right now. I want to go.
So okay, well, hold on a second. There is a mechanic for this. You have the ability to do something called rousing the blood, where you can supernaturally will your attributes higher. So you can choose to increase one of your physical, mental, or social dice by 2. So
now, because I have a feeling I'm going to need that later.
Yeah.
But I want you to know, like, I'm at a disadvantage right now because
got it. You're losing it
because I'm spinning that thing of like adrenaline into this moment, and like I wanted to get out, and it's just pound like my it's like ferocity, dude. I'm so like.
You feel the beast rise up inside of you. And it speaks to you in her voice. Dad, you can't let this fucking guy talk to you like that. Everyone's here, Dad. They're going to think you're a joke. They're going to think you're a loser, Dad.
You're not helping me.
I told you it is a storytelling game of personal horror.
Nothing in that helps.
Stepping out of this for a second, what are you trying to have Josiah do now? How are you thinking he is an appropriate reaction for him?
So here's the problem. The addiction to gambling has nothing to do with the money itself. It's the challenge. And his coin and his Joe Rock and all of that is a challenge. So I'm going to take the coin back and I'll take him. I'm going to grab him by the neck and turn him around, and I'm going to stick it in his mouth and put my hand on his face and shove it away and be like, again. Listen, hey. I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. You call me B-Rock again, and you're not waking up tomorrow. Do you understand me?
Hey, fuck, man. We're just playing cards. Come on.
You want to go head to head? I'll go head to head right now for as much as you want.
Hey.
Shut your fucking mouth. Do you understand me?
Hey, put it in your pants and put it on the table. All right. Okay. Right. Cool. All right. Cool.
Deal. I'll yell at the dealer. Deal. I'm in.
You notice the other people at the table, some of them just sort of like cut their eyes and watch, but for the most part.
What are you looking at? You got a problem? We got a problem.
Hey, Rockwell. We're just the actions on the table, man. All right? The actions on the table.
All right. The dealer. I'm sorry.
The dealer looks up and she says, "The game is blackjack. Place your bets."
I'll place my bet. I'll I will, in this humble moment, try to restrain myself, and I'll just pay a $500 blackjack.
You're like 10,000. You know, you place 500. You put down 500. Melvin looks at you, and he does give you a smirk, and he puts out 1,500. And the others go out and put their bets around too.
So, is he immortal?
As far as you know, Melvin's immortal. He is plugged in enough that he is aware of the Kindred existence. This is one thing that I haven't said. The reason why this is called Vampire the Masquerade is the fact that vampires exist is a secret. Your mortals are not supposed to know. But there are a small handful that know for one reason or another, be it business use or some other reason they're allowed to know and not be killed or mind wiped. So you don't know a lot about this guy because you hate him, but you know he knows at least somewhat.
Okay. Now, does that give? I mean, I have the ability to mesmerize, and he would essentially do whatever I had to do. Now,
you do know you were capable of mesmerizing him, and as a mortal, he would be defenseless. Yes.
Yes. So I'm not going to do that because of the establishment I'm in. I know very well that's against the rules.
It is.
Okay. There's a piece of me that is having a hard time not doing that. But I'm gonna play. I'll play blackjack, and I'm not gonna take his bait for now.
Now, so here's an interesting thing. How are we gonna simulate a game of blackjack?
I will.
That's how. Let's say, believe it or not, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna play this to your strengths here. I'm gonna give you your wits and your insight to see if you can just sort of feel it. Again, the way the skills work in this game is, I explain it to people is, D&D is explicit. You can do what you can do. If it says you have a power, you've got it. If it does not say you have that power, you do not. This game is implicit. It is more you being like, I want to try something. And then it's like, well, let's just roll this and kind of see where it goes.
I love it. In reading the rules, I love the fact that the only rule is there's no rules.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's great. Okay, so as far as I can tell, that's 3 dice plus insight, which is 3. That's 6 dice again, plus 2 of those are red, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. Come on, baby. So, okay. So I have 4 wins, 2 losses.
The dealer has 5. So that is a bust. You lose that hand. Let's see if Melvin with a crit wins. And he pulls his money in and he just sort of looks at you and he opens his mouth. He's about to say something, but then doesn't. But he very much gives you the like,
Okay.
I'm hot tonight. Hot tonight, y'all. Must be a good night. Woo!
I'll order a drink. I will order a drink.
Cindy, again, one of the servers that knows you very well, walks over to you and she's like, what would you like, Dr. Rockwell?
Give me a Bloody Mary.
She stops for a moment and she's like, how I'd like it or the house special?
I'll take the house special.
Understood, sir.
It's that kind of night.
I understand. And she sort of looks at Melvin and she leans in and she kind of whispers in your ear, clean him out. And turns and walks away there. So we'll do one more hand here. I'll roll. You roll that same thing again.
Well, I lost 500, so I'm down 500. So I'll bet
down 500.
I'll bet 2,000.
Yep. And yep.
Come on, baby. 1, 2, 3 wins, 3 losses.
You beat the dealer. You do win the hand, but Melvin wins the hand too. So he's like,
I don't care about Melvin.
He looks at you. He's like, hey, a broken clock's right twice a day, right? All right. Like, slides the money back in. As an aside, you all, as we're doing this, there is no gambling mechanic for this, as I know. So we're doing this as we go along. We'll play one more hand. You see, she lays out a 10 and a 1. 11 is on there. And Melvin says, woo, double down on 11. And he pushes out more chips.
Oh, he has an 11 or she has an 11?
The dealer's got an 11.
Oh, my God. You don't double down with her 11?
He does, though. He does.
I hate him, and I'm not following him. I'm not doubling down, but I'm not buying insurance either.
All right. You can go with what you got there. Okay.
1 win. Oh God, critical fail. I just have 1 win out of 4 dice.
Again, the dealer does hit 21, and you lose, and Melvin loses. And when he makes a huge dramatic, God damn it, and like bangs down on the table, like, can we get like a new dealer? Like we need somebody else over here. Could you get Samantha? Her over there. Get Samantha over here.
He's the worst. I hate this game. This game is the way I hate this game. Why are we playing this game? Let's go back to D&D where I get to kill vampires, not play one. Because I want to eat his face. I want to eat his face.
While Cindy comes back and she puts down a
bloody
Coke in front of you and says, I was told that you might enjoy this more. Jimmy said to bring it to you.
Thank you. I'll put a hold on my cards on my stack.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll remove myself to the restroom. I'll flip her $10.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say what? I'll say to as Samantha shows up, I'll say, "Hey, good seeing you. I'm going to the restroom. Watch my stack."
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on everything, Josiah. Good. It's good to see. Are you okay? And she does her eye sort of looks at the guy in the corner. She's like, "You okay?"
Got it covered.
All right. And she puts her chips down, and you see Melvin, like very much with a huff, pushes out like 1,500 more. And when you go towards the bathroom, he's like, "Remember to wash your hands."
I just want to social distance that dude, right? I'm gonna make my way to the restroom. Go ahead.
I would just say, so you do have some options in terms of your powers. You could do things like you could compel him to come with you so that you could gank him in the restroom if you so chose. You are correct that the proprietors of the establishment might frown on that, but I'm
gonna just remove myself. Hence, I have a feeling whatever's going on, Jimmy's giving me the high sign. I'm gonna put myself in a situation that if they're coming at me, they're not coming at my back. So I'm gonna go down as if I'm going to the restroom. I'll continue past the restroom and see if I can find like a. I'll swing the restroom door open and I'm gonna double time down the rest of the hall and sort of get, if there's like a storage closet or something, and give a look around to see who's following me.
So give me your wits and awareness.
Okay.
Again, that is this game's version of perception is wits and awareness.
Okay.
You're pretty good at that.
Yeah, I am. Okay, good.
I realize I haven't asked you a ton of questions, but we've been embroiled in vampire gambling, seedy action.
5 successes, 2 fails.
You could look around in time to see 2 suited men. One of them, they are head to toe 3-piece suits, vests, suits, long trench coats, top hats. They are dressed like you would have dressed when you were a young man out about town in the 30s and 40s. But so the fashion is very much of the era, but you get the distinct impression that it's brand new with those 5 successes, and they are still covered in rain. It's clear they just walked in. And they're standing at the big action table, and you very clearly see Melvin motioning in the direction that you just went.
Oh,
and they turn and they look your direction.
Okay. So in this, I mean, all right, I'm going to grab my knife. So I have a gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to, so the way I see it is it's down this hallway. There's a men's room and the women's room, and then this, whatever this other bathroom is on the end.
It is one of those, again, like claustrophobic little tight places. Like if you've been to Chinatown, like a lot of places in New York are the same way, that it's just tight in there. You know, even like there's little closets off to the side where like supplies are caught up, but it is very
big. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as they're coming down, are they following? They're walking over this direction.
Very like casually, they are walking that way. After he's very much like, yeah, he went over there. Like I'll even say with your 5 perception, he's like Joey Rock. He's in the can.
Yeah. Okay. As they're coming, I'm gonna have my gun out now. It's gonna be behind my back, and I'm just gonna be leaning against the wall. So there's no hiding from them. I'm not going to kill them right now, but I'm going to protect myself if need be. So as they walk up, I'll say to them, I thought I had a date after the evening. What do you want?
One of them gets closer, and you see he's
getting closer. I'm like, stay back. Just stand back. Do us both a favor. Do everyone in this place a favor and just stand back.
One of them takes his hat off, and you see the side of his face is badly burned. It's almost burned down to the bone in places. And the other one takes his hat off and is a much younger looking man. And he goes, yeah, we were gonna talk to you a little bit later, but we thought our business might be better concluded early.
What happened to his face? Plain talk, no bullshit.
Fucker should have ducked. And he turns and looks at him like slaps him, but doesn't say anything. Yeah.
Okay. Who did this? And what does it got to do with me?
See, as we hear it, you're a little behind on your debt.
Yeah, it's a known fact. Genius.
Well, we came to give you an opportunity to collect, to pay up, to square up, to be free, or whatever.
Oh. Well, how benevolent of you. What pray tell does that have to do? What I mean, my night's just starting out. You gotta give me some time to win.
We're not so interested in the money. Money is easy, but you're smart enough to know it's not about the money anyway. It's about the action, right?
Here we go. So why don't you tell me what heinous thing that you're scared to do, obviously you couldn't do, that now I have to clean up for you?
You know, Dr. Rockwell, Mr. Rockwell, Joey Rock, whatever the fuck you called. I like to do things a little differently, personally. If it were up to me, I would just cut your fingers off and leave you to think about it. But we need something done, and you're going to do it. Otherwise, things are going to get decidedly hostile. And when he says decidedly hostile, right next to you, that shadow appears. And it appears powerfully enough, it feels like someone's standing next to you.
Let me get this. So in this little hallway, there's 3 of us.
They're kind of when you said stop coming forward, they did. So we'll call it 20 feet away.
Okay.
But the shadow is now like right here next to you.
All right. I'll tell you. I'll tell you right now. Get your shadow wraith away from my face, or it's gonna get ugly. And if you have something you want me to do, I promise you want me in my full capacity, don't you? Because obviously you couldn't handle whatever it was.
Hey, Sullivan, I think he's scared. Look at him. He's about to fucking piss himself from the wraith. And you see the burned man doesn't make a sound, but just sort of smiles, and he does like this. When you see the shadow like steps back from you a little bit and starts to kind of disperse some. But you distinctly you still feel like something's there, even though you can't see it.
See, look at that. We can act like civil adults, you and I. The further we get, the better off it's going to be for the two of us.
There's a man.
There's always a man.
You talk a lot, don't you?
Just tell me what it is.
It's all smoke and no fire with some of you intellectual types. Like, I get it. You got your fucking brainiac biker look bullshit down, whatever. I don't give a fuck, okay? I'm just here to send a message and to be the deliverer of just retribution should you renege on the contract, okay? I would rather be anywhere in the world but here right now. But
trust me, I'd rather be dealing with anyone else other than a know-nothing middleman like you. But one of the two of us just get to the business at hand so that I can do the adult work and you can go back to playing lackey to whoever it is. All right?
He looks, and there's like on the wall kind of like a small frame portrait of some Asian immigrants from the early 20th century. He reaches over and he like very clearly like straightens it, rubs it a little bit with his shoulder, and he goes, Lady Ming Zhao's got a beautiful establishment here. She runs a lot of books, a lot of action, a lot of numbers. The thing about action is you can always count on finding some action junkies. So I got some action for you. You ready?
I'm so ready. I can taste it.
There's a guy downtown up in a penthouse. Name is Greenberg. Greenberg is fucking dying. We don't want Greenberg to die. We want you to go down there, get in, however means necessary, get to him and preserve his existence, if you understand what I am asking you to do.
I understand what you're asking me to do. Who's protecting him?
Well, like I said, Greenberg's dying, and there's some people that want to see him dead. He's got his own armed guards. There's probably some other people with eyes on it, blah, 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 blah.
Am I dealing with kindred or am I dealing with mortals?
Didn't I just say I don't know?
Like I said, I'd rather be dealing with anyone other than the middleman.
See, the advantage of us sending you, though, is we got plausible deniability and your intrinsic expendability. So it's like win-win, right? But you do this, you get the Greenberg, you save his life, your debt's paid. You're going to rack up another one because you're a fucking addict, but at least this time we'll be square.
The same picture that...
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole wall of it, right? It goes all the way down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've got one's a little bigger. It's an immigrant family.
Mm-hmm.
And I do the same thing. I kind of clean a little, and I smash it with my forehead and smash it again. And then I got blood dripping down my forehead. And I'll take care of it.
Ooh, now I'm scared. He's a wild man, Sullivan. Okay. They do start to take.
I'll say to him, I'm sorry.
the guy with the scar he referred to as Sullivan.
Uh-huh.
And this guy's name is Minsk.
So I'll say to Minsk, I always like meeting people like you. It reminds me that there's so much to live for.
He takes a step forward and he says, I know we just met, but I guarantee you ain't never met nobody like me.
I can guarantee you that we will meet again.
He reaches into his jacket pocket and he pulls out a piece of paper with an address and a couple of numbers on it. And he throws it literally on the floor. And he's like, that's the address. That is the garage door passcode. You should go. I don't know how much longer Greenberg's got. And if he dies, that's your ass. Capiche?
I God, what do I want to do here? Do I want to shoot him in the head? Because I have my gun out, remember? So I'll take my gun out. That's funny. You dropped something.
He turns his hand over, and you see from behind him along the floor, it's like the shadows on the floor come to life, and a long, like, tendril of darkness picks it up and moves the paper towards you. And he just goes, whoops.
See, civility goes a long way in this world, doesn't it? I'll put a pistol back. Let me get.
He puts his head back on and he's like, I will tell you this. Whatever else, you got balls. We'll see you soon, Doc. And they do turn to go unless you do anything to stop them.
No, I'm good. I'll immediately look at the address.
It's not too terribly far away. It's a high rise. Again, for those of you that haven't spent a lot of time in Los Angeles, Chinatown is right on the edge of downtown. For those of you caught up to the current series of Kindred events, it would fall very firmly in Baron Nines Rodriguez domain. But in the past, it was under the control of a woman named Ming Zhao, who was the Baron of Chinatown. But no one has seen Miss Ming in some nights. This place would, 10-minute drive. It's okay. Nothing. If the buildings weren't so tall, you could probably see it if you went outside and looked.
Right. Okay, so in terms of something like this, what do I have in terms of weapons? So at my disposal,
you have your gun and you have your knife.
Okay. So I don't have like my weapon of choice is more a long range sort of crafted or a more sort of specific approach to death instead of going raging and shooting people, right?
I would say, yeah, your high-powered rifle is in the case in the car.
Okay, perfect. That's what I was hoping for.
You never leave home. Does the gun have a name, by the way?
Yes. Annabelle.
Annabelle is your gun's name. Yep.
I fell in love with a girl long ago. Her name was Annabelle. And so
all I need in this world of sin is me and my girlfriend. Yep.
Me and my girlfriend.
Tupac had it right. Yep.
All right, good. So I will go over, grab my chips.
As you're about to head out of this hallway, Melvin comes around the corner and bumps into you and spills a drink and is like, Damn it, Joey! Come on. I mean, just the fuck happened to your face, man?
I'll say to him, I was like, yeah, I sometimes slip, boom, and I'll pop him in the face, right? Smash his nose in two. Got it again. I'm so sorry. Mel. I'm so sorry, Mel. So sorry, slip.
Fuck.
Sticks and I'm out.
Yeah.
And I'm gone.
You do see like a few like snickers and smiles, and one of the old men that's over there smoking opium just looks at you and nods as you're walking out. And as you're leaving, Jimmy just see as you're heading out, he's like, hey, sir, yeah, you got the drink, right? You got the drink?
That was good. I'll flip him 100 in chips.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say to him, I won't forget that. Thank you.
He's like, I'm gonna place this one for you, all right? Good luck.
Hey, that Minsk. So the dude who's running a shadow wraith, pretty high up, pretty powerful.
Well, yeah, Sullivan, he's from down south. He's from Long Beach. He used to run with another guy named Craig, but Craig got a couple months back. Minsk is new in town. He just came in from out east. They say he's a fucking psychopath.
Oh, good. Oh, great. That's exactly what I need. But I'm asking you, Beats, so somebody that runs a wraith, my knowledge of them or that power, pretty high up?
Your knowledge is limited of Oblivion, but it is not a common ability.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, it is not a common ability.
So I'll jump in. I'll jump in my 1972 Bronco.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll start to make my way to the address. When I get there, I'll park. I'll probably park. I'll give it a drive by and see if there's anyone covering the front.
As you drive through downtown Los Angeles, again, it is a fairly quiet night in the rain. Again, there's always traffic because there's always construction, some concert playing of some band that you've never heard of and is nowhere near as good as The Who anyway, as you're making your way through the streets. As you look up with your supernatural sight, you see high overhead the ambient spiritual presence that you're very much accustomed to. Los Angeles is extremely haunted. A combination of it having been inhabited by so many people for so long, and quite frankly, all the ambient misery that just draws spirits in. And even as the city collides in the midst of gentrification, trying to put a coat of civility over downtown as the skyscrapers reach higher and higher into the sky, for those of us that have been here for some time, everyone knows the truth that is buried just under the surface. And with that being said, I think that's a good time for us to take a little break.
Okay.
So, we'll do 10. We'll do a quick 10. And we will come back and continue.
You're supposed to be asking me questions.
You know, we were just like everything was happening, and then it got so intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's time for questions. We still got time for questions. So let's do 10. Don't hang up. We don't hang up. I'm telling him and me not to hang up because I will forget and click hang up and ruin everything for poor queue times. But for everyone else, we will be back in 10 minutes, and we're going to say some more words and do some more vampire stuff.
That was fun. Thank you, brother.
And welcome back to part 2 of episode 1 of One-on-One Shots with the Matthew Lillard. And we did it again. We were talking there in the break, and I was like, wait a second, this is one of the things that I want to share with people. And I was just talking to Matt and saying that one of the things that prompted this show is I'm fascinated by the psychology of why people play what they play, especially in the world of darkness. Like in D&D, of course, you're like, I'm an Aarakocra. I always want to be able to fly. I'm an elf. I love Legolas, whatever. But in the world of darkness in particular, it's this world. And so with the ability to be, quite frankly, anything, why one person chooses one thing and another chooses another is absolutely fascinating to me. So why did you decide to play a middle-aged grieving academic as your very first vampire character? Like what about that sort of like spoke to you? Because you arrived at it very quickly. So
yeah, I mean, I like playing against norm. I mean, I think that that's sort of my whole life. I think that in acting, and look, I found a life as an artist, and my belief is that you have to do what makes you excited and what turns you on. To be great, right? If you're struggling, as an artist, if you're striving to be great, if you're striving to be brilliant, you have to make big choices, really strong choices that you care about. And something like this, and something like an RPG game, I like creating something opposite of what's obvious. I mean, look, when you say a vampire game, you're like, I'm going to play this sexy, beautiful young creature. And look, I thought about it, but at some point I was like, I don't want to do that. I feel like that's done a million
because
times.
You're that in life, Matthew Lillard. You're that in life. It's not a game then.
That is not that. I wish. It's so funny though. I will say that there's been a recent sort of stretch of Twitter love for Matthew Lillard, which is really weird because you spend your whole life sort of like doing what you're doing, and all of a sudden like Twitter gets. I've just had weird attention on Twitter, and there's all these pictures of me as this young kid. Like it's very strange to do. My first movie I was 22 years old. I'm 50. So the rest of my life has been spent on screen, and to some shape or in some way, shape, or form. So it is interesting to like see pictures of me as a kid, like 22-year-old kid, and you're like, oh my god, your time goes so fast, and you have no sort of perception of how young you were at the time. You felt like an adult, and you're 23 years old, and you're like, God, that's really wild.
Yeah, no, that is an incredible thing. And yes, I have participated in some of the Matthew Lillard Twitter love, and I encourage those of you that are watching to please do the same. He is very humble. Dare I say too humble? Because I would submit it's the things you have made have brought a lot of joy to people. In my personal philosophy about art is that life is difficult. Life has always been difficult. Right now, at this exact moment, in the darkest timeline, it is very difficult for a lot of people. And if you can do something that takes someone on a journey that just makes them forget about that for a little while,
sure,
that is a service to the entire soul of the human race. And so, the fact that you've been able to make people laugh or cry or be terrified and enjoy, things that you've done. I mean, hey, thank you on behalf of the world that have gotten to take this trip with you over these years.
Yeah, there's no doubt that I have a deep appreciation for what artists do, and I'm proud to call myself one and spend my whole life doing it, and mentor artists and teach acting and preach. I preach a lot about my belief in the power of what we do and the struggle and how hard it is to continue to do it over the lifetime of an artist. And last night, we sat around, my family and I. So the National Theatre in London is one of my favorite places in the world, and they do this thing called NT Live. And NT Live is they are screening plays that were on the National. And last night we sat around, we watched Treasure Island, and it was like, an incredible book that's translated to the stage by incredible actors. And at the end of it, it was like the best time ever. And so there's no doubt that I take pride in being in the fraternity of artists and actors. Now, I've done a lot of bad movies.
I can't name one at all, and no one go to IMDb. No, stop it.
But but look, there's no doubt that at some point in your life you were like, there's all different. Like again, I've been doing this since I was 22, and you like go through this in this life, in this journey, and
Let me ask you two questions.
Yeah.
And they're completely different questions. What would you still really like to do as an artist? Like, let me just start with that one question. Like, if there's as you look back over the things that you've accomplished, like something that is still aspirational to you, like you'd feel really excited, or like you'd feel really accomplished if you did what?
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is, like, every time you set that benchmark, you hit it at some point, and you're like, oh my God, why was that a big deal? You just want more. So for me, my overall goal in life is to be surrounded by other artists. My goal is to die as an artist. So the idea of I want to win an Academy Award. I mean, those sort of, the older I get, the more I realize those actual tangible win an Academy Award moments actually mean nothing. So
it's very fleeting.
Huh?
It's very fleeting. Yeah.
Yeah, because you win an Academy Award, and my expectation, I've never won an Academy Award, is that you just want another Academy Award. Like, there's just no end to wanting more. So my goal is to be surrounded by artists my whole life. That's what I work towards, and that's something that I want to do. But I mean, right now, my 50th year, I didn't throw myself a 50th birthday party. I'm going to throw myself a play, and I'm going to do a play this year so my kids can see me in a play. And I'm terrified to do a play just because it's been so long since I've done one. So that's my active goal that I'm working on right now.
I did my first musical ever in my entire life in February. So hey, if you need a 6'9" tree to stand in the background, like you know a guy, there it is. I'll do it.
What musical did you do?
Oh, D&D Beyond did a musical. Yeah, and I mean, so what's funny is the actual thing that went up. You don't hear us singing, but when we were on stage, we were. So yeah, that was the first time I ever did that. Let me ask you my second question.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most common misconception people have about what it is to like lead the life of an actor? Like what it means to be, Matthew Lillard, professional actor.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I try to do a lot of breaking these stereotypes, but the reality is that actors and singers and dancers, performers, anyone making $1 off a gig, they're doing their best to feed their family and make it to the next job. I mean, the reality is that even after doing 50 movies and being around for 30 years, I'm terrified of never working again. So it's really, the majority of our lives is about survival rather than making choices to do this movie or that movie. I mean, yes, you always have a choice. You have the power to say no at any time. But, it wasn't too long ago that I didn't work for a year. And and in this day and age, our industry, like most industries, they're paying you less and working you more and taking away other avenues to make money. And it's getting harder and harder for anyone to make a living in America, and we are no exception to that rule. And I will say, so that's the thing I think that people don't understand. People think that, oh, you've got it made, or where your next job's coming from. I mean, I'm on a show right now called Good Girls. The show is great. It's on tonight, actually on NBC. But, they walked into the middle of a scene and they canceled the show, and we don't know if we're coming back. We should come back because the show is really great and a hit and people love it. But you never know. You just never know what's going to happen. So that's, I'd say that's the thing that I would love to break up. But the thing,
like the instability of it.
Yeah, and just the fact that you're on the hustle. I mean, I've been on the hustle since I was 21, trying to get my next job. And it's not about like, I'll take this job. I mean, look, Tom Cruise is out in the world going, I'll take that job. I'll take that job. I don't want that job. Like there's an echelon of people that are like that. Yeah. Hemsworth, whatever. I mean, whoever those people are. I'm not that guy. And most of us aren't those people.
Yeah. Uncertainty. I said instability. Uncertainty. Instability is a component of it, but you don't know. Yeah.
Right. Don't know. Yeah. And there's that thing where you are constantly, as somebody that's passionate about jobs, I love working. It's my favorite thing. I love acting. I love actors. I love doing my job. And to go in and try to get a job and give it everything you have, to audition, to beg for a job and do not get that job and have to get up and beg again and to beg again and to continually go and put yourself on the line and put your heart on the line to get a job and not get it or get it. That takes a certain amount of courage and is hard. It's really hard. It's hard to have that. You're constantly jumping off a cliff and hoping that something lands underneath you.
Yeah, that was my experience out here earliest in LA. 'Cause I actually didn't come to LA to act. I came out here as a bodyguard for a rock band, and my ambition was writing. And I just started getting put in projects because, again, I'm gigantic and can deliver lines fairly effectively. I got a background in martial arts, so it was sort of easy. So I sort of actually kind of got swept up in it and discovered that I really enjoyed it. Right. And I think that's people underestimate that it is difficult, and this town is difficult. And there's that old joke about like live in New York, but leave before you get too hard. Live in LA, but leave before you get too soft. LA's brutal. This place is a machine that like will just grind you to pieces if you're not rooted in something else that enables you to deal with what you're talking about.
Yeah. And my answer to that is fellowship. Like you have to be surrounded by other people like you, because the reality is that there's 3 million people in Los Angeles and all of them are on that same dream. There's a lot of people here on the hustle and trying to make it. And there's a handful of jobs. And so what happens, I always say also, it's not the acting isn't, no actor leaves acting profession because they're acting too much, right? They leave because it's a time in between jobs, or they get lost in the oblivion. And when you're lost in it, it's a slow trajectory, right? The problem is that you just never be like, I'm out. It's always like, you're just like, oh, I haven't acted in 6 years and I'm still calling myself an actor. And that's the hard part. But but look, I'm blessed to have my job. I feel like I'm at a place in my life where I respect sort of the journey, and the slow doesn't necessarily end up killing me like it used to. And the high, I never got really loaded on the highs. I mean, I was always the guy climbing the ladder and looking at what I wanted instead of looking at where I'd come from. But yeah, it's definitely, and look, I have great things about my career. I mean, I get to, I go on USO tours all the time and visit troops. I get to affect a kid who's like, sitting there crying in a hospital about to have surgery. You go to do the voice of Shaggy, and all of a sudden it changes their lives. I mean, there's the upside of it, the emotional power of being somebody that's been around for a long time. I love, and I never really got it. I never really respected it. I didn't really care about fame, but there's an element of you can transact with people. Like if you show up in Afghanistan and you're saying hi to troops, the fact that you would take that time to do it, it means more to those guys than anything. And I like that. I like those men and women are affected by the fact that you would choose to come out there. And I like the idea that what I've done in my life can make a positive impact on people.
Absolutely, man. And thank you for it. No, it is not cheesy. It is true. It is true. And I think it is genuine and authentic. And I appreciate you sharing it. We did have some questions come in. Many of those things we sort of wove into the conversation. I'm going to try to weave into the conversation here as we finish Josiah's journey for today. But there's a couple of things that people asked that I'm just going to ask outright. We question what's up next for the Beatles and Grimm product line. Can you share with us anything that is coming down the pipe for Beatles and Grimm?
Well, we just got 2 new t-shirts that are pretty awesome. So if you go to beatleandgrimms.com, there's 2 t-shirts that I'm really excited about. But because, we expected to be at a bunch of cons, Gen Con and Gary Con.
Girl, same.
Yeah, I mean, so we, there's a huge con life that we were building stuff, and so we have a bunch of t-shirts now for that. We have the gold edition of Eberron that's in the store. We just released a silver edition of Descent into Avernus. So usually our boxes are $500 each. and we only make 1,000 of them. But then when we do gold and silver, we do sort of limited runs again, because we're still a small company. But we have both those boxes, and then we have, I can't talk about what's coming out, but the big release for Wizards of the Coast this year, we'll do that release that would have been announced at D&D Live. So we'll do a box for that. And then there's another surprise box that they haven't announced yet, so we're not able to announce. But that's a box that I'm running and creating, and I'm really, 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 really excited about it. I mean, I think the people in the community will freak out about what WotC's doing, and I think they'll be excited about what we're doing. And look, and for us, I mean, we are 5 guys that started a company 2 years ago, and we are desperately trying to find other boxes to create. I mean, we're talking right now to other games, other elements of games. Like, we're trying to create more than D&D boxes. We're trying to
diversify
and just bring what we do well. You create these elements and try to bring them to the gaming community, and also to create elements for everyone around the table. Right now, we're creating D&D boxes that are designed for game masters to elevate their game, and we want to keep trying to enhance players' experience around the table. So diversifying that as well.
Somebody asked, how hyped are you about the Wormwood dice line? So is it a full set? Is it just 20s? Like, what is it? Is it?
It's this is so funny. I have it right here. I don't see me, but this is it. And then Wormwood this week. I mean, everyone has to understand that they just launched their.
That was a smooth reveal. That was a professional product presentation there. That was nice.
Look, but they, it's the whole set, and they're awesome. They're stone, and Wormwood just released their Kickstarter this week, and I think they got to $750,000. I don't know where they are now, but they huge success for them. And those guys are great. So our first con was a Gen Con. Our first con was the D&D Live, which I
met you there.
Yeah, that was the first time we met. And then Gen Con that year, we were at Wormwood's table. They let us come and crash their table, and we've been friends with those guys ever since. They're awesome. We love them, and we're looking to do something with them. And this is where
the Kickstarter's running now.
Yeah, the Kickstarter for Wormwood, it's their Kickstarter. We have nothing to do. We have a dice set on there that we created.
I would just say Q times Overlords, if possible. If we could drop a link to that Kickstarter in here, that would be great. If not, you all can Google it. You can find it here. Let me ask you this other thing that will sort of transition us back here into Josiah's story. When designing Rockwell, was the clan selected based on the backstory, or were the clan options part of the backstory creation process? I'm gonna let you answer that, because how you perceived what we went through there.
Well, it was great. Look, I love the idea of playing the older guy. I like the idea that was sort of an elevated, successful place and was humbled by life and death. And so the idea of somebody who was a hospice nurse who's transitioning. I mean, I have somebody in my life right now who's transitioning. And so hospice care is like in my life. And so I just put it in the game to add sort of my own Matt Lillard emotional stakes to the moment. And I like that. I like building characters that have real emotional sort of commitment to the game. So, and then going through and sort of getting into, what are they called? The sets?
Clans, the disciplines.
It made sense. I like the idea that there was somebody that was intellectual and that was struggling with mental health. And it's a huge part of our life right now in terms of, I think in this community, RPG community is so clear. I think that they do a really good job with sort of identifying, supporting people struggling with mental health issues, and supporting and loving people in the LGBTQ trans community. And I think my impression of our community is that it's really inclusive and really full of love. And that's the point of view I see all the time. And so I like the idea of representing somebody who's bipolar and sort of bringing respect and love to that character.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I think these games, Vampire and the World of Darkness in general, really lend themselves to dealing with that sort of thing. I know a lot of people that are doing really great work and using therapeutic aspects or applications of like D&D, like Dr. Janina Scarlett's a good friend of mine, Dr. Megan Connell, the Clinical Role, all Game to Grow, all doing really great work. But I found I've run now over 200 sessions of Vampire V5, and I find it's interesting because when I was telling you that I'm fascinated by who chooses what, I find it breaks down into three usually really, really broad categories. One group of people picks someone who's basically just like them. It's like me if I became a vampire. Quite frankly, my character on LA by Night's like that. I mean, I'm kind of the same person. Then there's people that.
Why can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So in this moment of make believe, is it a security? Like, why do you build who you are? Is it just a better connection to it? Like, why do you think that happens, or is it innate?
I don't always, but why I did this with Victor was we knew LA by Night was launching V5 for a new generation of people, that we were the flagship. Like I was the first person that was given the new Ventru logo. And this was like on this actual dice box. And I loved this game for so long, and I loved that clan. And I took very seriously the fact that I was going to be the face of my favorite clan going forward. I'm also acutely aware of the portrayal of black males in the media. And so that's why I was so adamant about he's not a criminal. I mean, people that watch the show know he's done plenty of crime now, but he made all of his money legitimately. And that was important to me. And it did make that particular mask easier to put on, if that makes sense.
Right.
I mean, now I'm at a place now I create characters expressly to be not me. Like I've been blessed to do so many things that it's just, I'll look and like, what haven't I done? You know? Right. So if you're like, hey, check this out. I want you to play an agoraphobic kobold who is addicted to opium. You know, I'm like, yes, let's do it. You know, like just 'cause, what are some interesting adjectives now? Yeah, but that's why that was. In the funny thing is, I'd done a show right before Vampire that was called We're Alive Frontier. That my character Chateau was kind of this revolutionary. He was a community leader, and I actually originally had planned Victor to be not that. It's just the way the story worked out. It was one of those things that I found. Because it's like when you're pushed, you fall back on your training. You don't even fall back on your nature; you fall back on your training.
Yeah.
So under duress, the kind of choices I would make,
same choice.
Led back to that. Him kind of ended up in a similar spot, which is fine. I love it, but to the point that I was making, I learned a lot about myself in seeing what he does. And I think the World of Darkness is very good for that because you're just one step removed. I mean, you can play a very glorious Titan Paladin who, you get very emotionally invested in. I've gotten very emotionally invested in my fantasy characters, but it's different when you're in Chinatown. You and I both know what Chinatown is, so you can there, you know what I mean? You're like, there's a guy standing in front of you wearing a Golden State jersey, wearing an Uzi or holding an Uzi to the head of, this woman who is begging you for help. Like you're going to react from a different place. And I think that is one of the strengths about this in what it gets to do. But like I was saying before, it's fascinating to me that when presented with that blank canvas,
So what was the two other ones?
Exactly not you. Like as I even listen to the descriptions and things, it's like someone has like almost gone down a list of like, what are 10 ways I describe myself? What is literally the opposite of that?
Right. Okay.
And
how often do you think they stick to that? I mean, it's funny. I'm running a game right now that everyone is playing the same character for there's two guys that are playing the exact same character that they played 2 campaigns before, and I'm trying to break them out. I'm trying to move them out of what they're falling into old tropes.
I would say let them, man, because there's something that there still is unresolved there, or comfortable or familiar, which is still all fine. It's I mean, I think when it's just something that is fairly thoughtless, like, again, trenchcoat katana guy, you're like, oh, okay, let's switch it up. Can trenchcoat katana guy fall in love? Can trenchcoat katana guy lose his hand? Like, can we evolve him? But
a little.
Yeah, but I mean, for the most part, I think that's okay, because what I find is people's characters become old friends, like Beetle. I've seen you play Beetle, and he's this gregarious dude. Beetle's an old friend. So when you get to hang out with Beetle,
no doubt. Listen, I love playing him. I mean, it's that thing that you go back. It takes a second to put on an old coat, and then. It's funny. He is the funniest character I've ever played. I mean, we'll sit around and he'll just have, I don't know, something when you're in Beetle land, shit gets funny real fast.
Isn't it what?
What's the third archetype?
Just the again, I won't say the ideal, but I'd say I almost call it the fascinating, like similar to the choice that you made, in the context of the fact that you yourself are dealing with someone that is trained, is in hospice care right now. The fact that that's part of this character is interesting to me. But it's like, even the character that you told me, like, I knew there was a story behind it, and it's just neat to me. Like, I've got players, like, again, usually when it's someone that plays an older character, I'm always interested in that, because, again, our society values youth so much. So when someone is like, I'm playing like a 60-year-old dude, I'm like, that's cool. People that play with gender and or racial identities, or just what they conceive of as the superlative. Because with a lot of my players, especially in these modern games, they'll go get pictures of, like, I'm that person. And it's interesting. It's interesting to me when someone will go and, like, dig up a picture of Taye Diggs or something, and it's like this Middle Eastern housewife, and it's like, I look like that guy, and I'm like, word, okay, like, that's just it's just fascinating to me to observe. You know what I mean? Like completely free from judgment. I'm like, do you? It's interesting to me seeing, like, why they do it. Yeah. But
and how that gets played out. Is who they are. I mean, they're trying now. They're like pretending to be something they think that
and what I find we tend to come across the most in these games, and a lot of times the players aren't conscious of it. It is incomplete romantic relationships and incomplete family relationships. And I try to be sensitive to that. For the most part, when people meet their parents in these stories, I try to never make parents the villains unless I've been expressly asked to. Because unfortunately, in life, some of us have been blessed with very loving, supportive parents, and some of us weren't. And in either way, I kind of almost want to give that, to people. In some of the most emotionally engaging sessions we've had are like that. Like, I did one where it was just randomly like time travel and trips through the spirit world and visions and stuff come up a lot in these games. And someone was going back through their own life, and they met their father, and right when they were leaving, and they'd even written the father as being kind of a bad, abusive sort of asshole, was their concept of it. And I still sort of had, as they were leaving, the father was like, I'm proud of you, son. Like, you learned what I was trying to teach you. I'm proud of you. And that was kind of the end of the moment. And this person messaged me later and was like, I didn't realize how emotional that was going to make me, because I can't ever think of my dad telling me he was proud of me. And they were like, I didn't know that would hit me like that, but thank you.
The game transcends the game. I mean, I think
absolutely.
Like, why when you look at the success right now of RPG community and what's happening, is I think that people understand that the lack of anything real coming out of Facebook or anything real coming out of Twitter or any of the social media, when you sit around the table and people invest, I mean, you have to invest. And once you get that sort of that connection around a table and you're playing characters that mean something, that you're actually connecting emotionally, and that's where magic happens. You're like, I don't know why this is happening.
Because you don't just observe it, you get to live it. You know?
And it's like it's therapeutic and it's storytelling. It's as old as time. It's as old as man.
It is a vital human need. And let's tell a little bit more of Josiah Rockwell's story then. As we find you driving through the rainy streets of Los Angeles in your Bronco, and as you said, you were going to drive past the tower on your way by. There are two suited men standing downstairs, sort of. They're not brandishing firearms or anything. They look a little bit bored, but there's definitely two dudes on the front door as you drive past, and they pay no attention to you. It's a normal busy street, but you think there's probably a 30-story high-rise you've been given the address to and been told that Greenwood's up in the penthouse.
Okay.
Greenberg, sorry.
Greenberg. I'll make my way to the back. Is there like a loading dock on the back of this? How big is 30 stories? Is that what you said?
Yep, 30 stories. So it's got a huge underground parking garage. It is gated, but one of the things that Minsk gave you was the access code to the parking garage.
I'll make my way to the parking garage and I'll code myself in and drive down.
Mm-hmm. As you drive down, it is the parking garage itself goes down another 4 levels down into the earth, and you see an interesting mix of from luxury supercars kind of parked crooked in the spots, like standard douchebag parking, to some worn and beat up sedans that are almost certainly the cars of the help, sort of dotted in between. And yes, there is sort of like a loading area down there for like when the laundry trucks and things to come in and out.
What time of night is it?
It's about 10 p.m. by now.
Okay.
You pretty much headed to the temple about as fast as your feet could carry you. And all told, it's about 10:30.
Okay, so I'm going to make my way to the loading dock. I'm going to park. So if these things are like this, right? You're going down one side. I'm going to park here, and I'm going to take a good 10 minutes to check out the loading dock to make sure there's nobody there.
Give me your wits and awareness then to see.
Okay.
So again, that is going to be 6 dice for you. Oh, 7 dice for you. You're very good at awareness. Remember to replace it with your blood dice.
Yes. Okay. Hold on a second. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't want this one. I want this one. Okay. Fail, success, fail, success, crit, and the success. Oh, nice. Okay. So 5 successes.
Okay.
And fails.
Again, with 5 successes, you see it is not a particularly busy night in those few minutes. Maybe 2 cars go by in the time. While you're watching the loading dock, a private security guy with one of those thin windbreaker jackets, like barely buttoned over a big, thick belly, sort of wanders out, smoking a cigarette, kind of looks down at his cell phone a little bit, and then sort of kind of looks around, no big deal. They're like,
good. I'm gonna out there smoking. I'm gonna go. My long gun is in what? Is it in a case?
Yeah, she's in a briefcase.
All right. So I'm gonna grab
sleeping under the back seat so that nobody walking by would just like bust in, and steal it.
Yeah. They all I've had the 72 Bronco, rebuilt the engine multiple times. There's multiple hidden components inside. I will go back. I will unlock the back seat component. It pulls out and then flips up. And doing so, there's all kinds of weapons in there.
The arsenal is down there intact, complete with a couple of stacks of cash and a few poker chips that you've stashed away for a rainy day.
I'll take my I made money because remember I lost 5. Yeah, so I'll take the money and I will take the stacks and I'll put them in there first. I now have access to my full arsenal, my mobile arsenal. So in this moment, I'll take on my jacket in the back of my car. All the windows are tinted. I'm gonna take a strap across my back and I'm gonna load my katana in the back. The little short sword katana in the back. I'll put my jacket back on. I still have that little nub in the back of my
Gambit.
Yeah, and then I'll go double pistols in my Armani, and so I'm now loaded double pistols.
It is cut to obscure the lines of the handguns. So again, to the casual observer, it doesn't really look like you're packing anything.
Exactly, and it's also like this isn't what I want to do. I am not, just so we're clear. My motivation is to never kill unless I'm forced to or I'm feeding.
I mean, again, girl, same. Again, I'm not a killer, but don't push me.
But don't be on the wrong side of.
Tupac tried to warn us all. Yes. You very easily are able to load up. Every once in a while, someone like passes by in the garage, but they seem preoccupied. A guy walking his dog, a woman with her kids fumbling with some garbage or grocery bags.
Okay.
No witness. I declared a black op. Yes. But you are able to get loaded up, no problem.
And I'll make my way over to Ed having a smoke outside. I'll walk over to him and say, "Hey."
You realize if you walk up, he very hastily puts out the one he's not supposed to be. Yeah. Hey, hello.
Wait. Ed, is it your name, Ed? Is it Ed? Come on.
Yeah.
Let me get one of those, please. I'm dying. My wife's busting my balls. You gotta get there. I'm late. I should have been home 2 hours ago. She's gonna kill me.
It's always something, right? It's like you go to work, come home, you're home, go out, make some money. Is the way you're gonna do.
30 years of marriage. She is going to knock me out tonight, though. Tonight, I was supposed to be home earlier. I messed that up. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I'm telling you, man. She may leave me this time.
Hey, man. No. Like 30 years? You say 30 years? No, I'm sure it's not then. You fought before, right? It's just
I know, but this is bad. Her dad's dying. Her dad's Ed Greenberg, and he's dying, and I'm late. I was drinking. I was gambling.
Oh, you're Lindsay's guy.
I'm Lindsay's husband.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit, man. I just, I was sorry to, Mr. Greenberg. He was always real nice. He's always real nice.
Is he dead? I'll grab him. Is he dead?
I don't know. I haven't been up there, but I mean, I haven't seen like 911 or anything. So no.
I gotta get up there. Can I just take this thing upstairs?
What you're supposed to go through the front though. This is just the service elevator. It's just.
But her mother's boyfriend's out front. Her lawyer's there. Hey, I have mesmerize.
Yes, you've got a couple of options. You're pretty good at persuasion if you just want to talk, and you also have mesmerize if you just want to make him do it. As a mortal, he is defenseless. So if that is your intention.
I feel like I'm pretty close to getting up. I'm going to stay on this path. I'm going to try to persuade him to let me up.
So same thing. You're going to roll your wits and your persuasion, which again for you is going to be 6 dice. You are pretty good at this, you silver-tongued devil.
Oh, 6 dice. That was a success. I rolled 7. So I'm putting one back, re-rolling. Okay, 8. Okay, so I have 4 successes, 2 fails.
Okay, so 4 total. He just like a yeah.
I'll hug him. All right.
Oh yeah. Hey, sorry, man. When you hug him, he goes to hug you back, and he feels the guns under your armpit and the sword on your back, and he just freezes.
Okay, I mesmerize him.
he very much just like he looks. He goes, "Hey, I don't want any trouble. I make $10 an hour.
Don't worry about it."
So, what would you like? Do you want him to forget that he felt this, or do you want to command him to do something?
I just want him to forget that he felt this.
Okay, yeah, you just forget.
Yeah, to feel that these aren't the droids you're looking for.
He sort of like blinks for a second, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, yeah, Lindsay though, yeah, no, I've been, yeah, she's super nice, super nice." He walks over towards the freight elevator, and he's like, "I can send you. It'll be 2 floors below though, because this doesn't go all the way up to the penthouse."
That's fine.
Yeah, he badges it in, and he goes in, and he hits all the way to the top, and he's telling you the truth. It goes to 28.
Okay. I will pop as soon as those doors shut, I'll go to pop the top of the elevator.
It does slide open. This is one of those big, gross freight elevators, you know, that blue cloth lined on the side for, you know, so
everywhere.
All the furniture and everything gets brought through here. Yeah.
So I will, I'll pop the top and I'll climb to the top and I'll take this thing all the way to the top.
All right. You are able to scramble up. It takes some doing. You are more of a thinker than a physical man. But you're able to get up there, and you do see into the darkness, the cavernous expanse of 30 stories as you go up. And every once in a while you see numbers painted on the side of the wall, so you know where you're going up. And there is a ratcheting echo of there's
I'll shove the top of the elevator back on. And I'm going to, as we're going up, there's nothing I have to do to prepare. Like there's no casting of protection from, you know, there's no prepping, there's no buffing or anything. Right?
There are some abilities that you have to do something in advance, but you don't possess any of them unless your goal is to use your power of obfuscate, where you can hide. Theoretically, you will be unnoticeable by people. However, if you interact with objects, it will break the obfuscate.
Okay, so I'm going to obfuscate as we're going up.
So
my goal is go ahead. Yeah.
Tell me what your goal is, and then I'm gonna tell you one other thing.
So as we're climbing, my objective is to, on top of this thing, as we get to the top, I should be halfway to the floor. I should be a floor and a half down from where I was. I'm going to try to scramble up.
Okay.
That floor and a half and open the service entrance on the 30th floor.
Okay, so first thing, to use the power of unseen passage, you have to do what is called a rouse check. So you have to roll one of these blood dice and see if you get hungrier.
5. I'm getting hungrier.
That is, so does that put your hunger at 3 or 4?
3.
All right. You feel the beast sinking its claws into your brain here. It goes, Dad, how did we get into this mess, Dad? We're here in this dirty elevator shaft like a common errand boy. This isn't who we are. Look at you. You're covered in dust and soot.
Stop. It never fucking stops.
Just, ow, look at you. This isn't what I'm so disappointed in you, Daddy.
Oh, I fucking know. I know. He's frustrated. He's frustrated and like he's getting angry about it. He almost he could go back down and rip the face off of Ed. Just like
you feel you as a kindred don't need to breathe, but you have the ability to essentially will your lungs to function, to will an approximation of life. And you find yourself unconsciously sort of As you're holding on to this ladder here, almost despite yourself, your lungs kind of come to life just to have this nervous, shallow breathing.
Oh God. Okay. In terms of blood dice, what it just gives me a higher chance for a critical success or critical failure, correct?
That's exactly it. Yep.
Okay. All right, good. So we continue. I continue up to the 30th. It stops. Can I climb? Is there something I can either? Is there something here I can?
There's the elevator set into the wall, so the service people can kind of come up and down. Okay. You do notice that as you climb a little higher, you can see all the way up to the door on the 30th, but it seems like it's locked.
Okay, I'll go to the 29th. I'll listen at the door. Do I hear anything on the other side?
Give me your wits and awareness. And that is a 7 dice pool, but now 3 of them are red.
2 successes, 4 fails.
Maybe. It's hard to say. The elevator's right there. You hear the blood rushing in your ears, and the beast is not done, still vaguely whispering to you just outside of your perception. It's
I don't have the patience. I don't have the patience to listen. I listen, the sounds, frustration. I just fucking open it.
And when it comes open, you do reappear from the obfuscation with the force of opening it up. And you see a balding middle-aged man wearing a robe standing there with a garbage bag and looks at you and goes, Jesus fuck, man, are you all right?
Oh, service interest. He's human. I will
appears to be.
Yeah, mesmerize and be like, there's nothing. You don't remember this. Walk away.
Forget. You cloud his memory.
Yeah, forget this and walk away.
As he just sort of like blinks at you for a second and turns and walks away.
All right, good. I'll obfuscate again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's no limit to these powers, right?
There's not. However, every time you do it, you do have to rouse your blood, and if your hunger gets to 5 or above. Increasingly worse things happen. Again, the beast starts to take more and more control of you. So
in game, I would never obfuscate at the bot. I would never have done that in the elevator because I would have at some point had to interact with the world.
Well, there's 2 ways to look at it. On the one hand, probably, but on the other hand, you couldn't have known what sort of security was up there. So it wasn't necessarily a bad gamble.
But if I have to open the door no matter what,
yep,
I would have.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm. I just don't know how it works. So I would love to take that dice now.
I'll give it to you. You can safely obfuscate now. Yes.
So I'm obfuscating.
I will say that particular power, no one can be looking at you when you do it. So happens, no one's looking right now. But
okay, good. And I'll make my way. Although I have to do it. That guy had a bag.
Garbage bag, yep.
I'll go to him again and I'll say, give me your uniform and give me your bag. Come with me.
Well, so this guy is just some random dude who was taking his garbage out. The security guard did not come with you into the elevator. So this is just a dude. He's kind of in a robe.
Okay. Okay. Good. All right, good. I will. I'm gonna make my way. Oh God, how am I gonna get up? So I'm gonna. You know how in those in a building like this they have sort of the tactical map of the actual floor. I'm gonna go find the staircase.
You see where there is a staircase, but when you open it, you look around, and from the outside there is a keypad, like a badge pad. Card key. That's the word I'm looking for. I can word good.
Oh, good. I quit. I just quit.
You're like, new plan. I kill everyone.
And I'm gonna go drink beer. All right. So okay, good. Did I see that
home and there's a lot of ghosts? Yeah.
Well, I see. I'll say to. How do I communicate with the ghost world? I know I have that ability.
Would you like to see if there's any ghosts around?
Yeah. Is that how does that work?
So again, your ability to sense the unseen just works. You can just do it.
Okay.
Again, the only time I have you roll is to see what you can see. But as you open your supernatural senses, it comes in and you do see what looks like a well-dressed man wearing a almost very cliche butler's outfit. With a thinning comb over and a wearing a vest with bronze buttons and white gloves. And he has a duster and he is dusting things here in the hallway.
And I'll say, God, ye good den, good sir. What is your name?
Oh, good day to you too, sir. My name is Benson. Yeah. How might I be of service?
Benson, I have a question for you. Do you know how to get into this floor without the keypad? Do you know the key number to get in? The code to get in?
Code, sir.
Okay. There is the floor upstairs. Have you been there before on the 30th?
No, yes, quite. The Greenberg resident, yes.
Yes. And how do you is there another way to get there other than the elevator? The elevator's broken. You know how else to get up there? Is there another way other than the stairs?
Well, there is the helps entrance, but that would not be something a man of your distinction would not want to sully yourself.
Where is the helps entrance?
He goes over towards the edge of the hallway and set back slightly. There is a fairly in a little recessed alcove. There is a door that you would easily overlook if you weren't looking for it. And he's like, well, out of sight, out of mind. You see, that's how we wouldn't want to disturb the higher quality people that are here.
Yes, I understand that. Benson, you have been immensely helpful. Thank you so much. Ben, real quick, before I go, on the top of the stairs, the master bedroom is which way? If I were to come out the entrance, the service entrance, is it to the left or to the right?
The Master Benson suite would be straight ahead and on the right. He is up on the second level of the penthouse there. Hey, Baldo, what business do you have with Master Benson tonight?
Master Benson and I are going to play cards. Thank you, Benson. It was lovely to talk with you.
But be careful. He's a tricky one there. Just lose your shirt to him, you will, if you're not paying attention.
Yes, I understand that, Benson. Thank you for the warning. God, you good day, good sir.
Yeah, quite. And he does like bend down and like try to dust your feet. He's like, yes, a little of the road grit there on the show. That's a fine accoutrement. And then he goes back and like continues dusting.
Oh, good. Oh, that was good. I like that. Did I roll to find a ghost, a spirit? Or is that a bequeathed by the GM?
That was bestowed upon you by the fickle finger of fate. I really did give myself a certain percentage chance that something would be here, and I did roll under that. I said I gave myself a 30% chance there was a ghost, and I rolled a 4. So fate, sir, fate said there was going to be a ghost that you could interact with.
So perfect. So I'm going to slip into the service entrance. I'm going to make my way up the stairs. At the top of the stairs, right? So I'm assuming that would be then the 30th floor. And I'm looking for it to continue to basically the 30th and half floor to where his room would be.
As you get up there, as you start approaching, you hear voices.
Okay.
Yes. Real shame about Mr. Greenberg. Yeah, it is a shame, but he's what, like fucking 98 and like a billionaire? Like he's had a good run. Yeah, but you know, he's always done right by me. And he's like, done right by you, how? I mean, yeah, we get like $100 an hour. That's true, but I think he probably loses 10 grand in the time it takes him to go take a shit.
Is it right? Is it muffled or outside the door?
It sounds like it is in the stairwell as you're approaching.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. What's unseen passage?
That is the one that lets you move invisibly.
Silence of death. What's that?
You move quietly while invisible.
Okay.
Well, you can be quiet and invisible. They are two different powers, but you could have both up.
Okay.
And you are owed an unseen passage. So if you want to say you are moving quietly and invisibly, I will give you that.
I will do that. I'm going to move both quietly and invisibly.
As you are moving up the stairs, there are two guys that very much scream private security. Right, they're sort of wearing bad beige suits and sort of just kind of standing there chatting, you know, like they are by no means on like ultra high alert.
Right. Okay. Let's keep it that way.
And they give no indication whatsoever of being able to see you as you approach. So
yeah, I'm now in this state. Am I allowed to mesmerize, or do they have to be able to see me?
They have to be able to see you and make eye contact. So if you were to appear, you would basically be able to get one of them, but the second one would be able to react in some way before you got him too.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to take a. Now, if I to use my own, if I interact with an object that's on my own body, will I materialize?
If you're talking about doing something like maybe readying one of your weapons, like you can do something like that, like simple actions, essentially like taking the time to be like,
okay,
you know, like that sort of thing you could do.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But if you start shooting, it would break the obfuscate, that sort of thing.
Okay, good. I'm going to take my keys.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You can do that.
I'm going to go down. So if they're here and there's stairways, right? They're the top of the stairs here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to take my keys quietly and I'm going to throw them down the hallway. And then I'm going to step back into the corner, trying to pull them down around the corner so I can move up.
Hand to God, as I was thinking what I would do in this situation, I was like, I throw my keys down the stairs and make some noise. I was literally thinking that. So
before I do that, I'm going to take the Bronco key off.
Yes. Thank you. I'll even give you the forethought that, you know, you sort of take off the Bronco key, the house key, you know, like you might need to get like a new one to your office mate or something, but you know, they're still sufficiently jingly and you and they literally like, the fuck is that? One of them pulls a gun out and goes down the stairs, and the other one stays at his post but walks forward to the rail to look down. Good. So one of them walks past you. The other one does not move, but is like.
Good. I am going to move past him silently. I'm going to do my best to get by him. If I don't, I will appear and then I will mesmerize.
He is distracted. You are both silent and obfuscated. Again, in the technical term, you are not invisible. They just don't notice you. It's more you slip through awareness. And you are able to get past the man.
Nice.
And you go up higher to, there is another door that is up there, and this one does not have anyone standing there.
Great. I will listen at it. Do I hear anything outside of it?
Same thing. Give me your wits and awareness.
Shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 7, right?
Wait, did you get 2 10s?
No. I got 5.
Oh, that is 7 dice. Yes.
5 successes, 2 fails.
With 5 successes, you hear. Oh, how much longer is this gonna take? Fuck you, Jimmy. He's our dad. Look, he's 98 years old. I just want to be able to execute this will and get back to Tahoe. God, this is why Mom never loved you. Mom never loved fucking anybody, child. You hear that coming through the door.
God. Okay. The monster in me wants.
Don't call me Jimmy. My name is James Greenberg the Fourth. Blah, 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 blah. Save it for their press release or whatever bullshit you're going to do later. I'm going to go sit next to Dad.
Okay, good. So as he walks away, I will open the door.
When you open the door, a man turns around and just sort of looks at you for a second, and he goes, I didn't order any room service.
I'm going to mesmerize.
What do you compel him to do? Remember, he will do literally what you tell him.
I want you to go inside. I want you to get your brother, and I want you to take him downstairs. Yeah.
So this power, again, you can only issue simple commands. So you can tell him something like go downstairs.
Okay.
Or
okay.
Yeah. Or, you know, bring me your brother. Like, I mean, like simple, you know,
Okay.
A to B.
I want you to extract a bunch of money from a transaction.
Exactly.
I want you to go downstairs and pick a fight, a verbal confrontation with somebody in your family. Go.
So you could tell him something like, go downstairs and get in a fight. Like, you couldn't be able to tell him something much more complex than that.
Okay. I want you to lock yourself in the bedroom. I want you to lock yourself in the bathroom and don't come out for 2 hours.
He would go immediately straight to the door, and you hear slam, click.
Great. I make my way to the next sort of place, the next door jam, and look left and right. Anything?
You hear TV's on from downstairs, and you hear a faint.
I'll make my way. Okay, good. I'll make my way to that room.
As you slowly approach, you see a woman who you think is probably Lindsay Greenberg, based on what you were told, sitting next to the bed, holding the hand of a withered old man, surrounded by machinery. You again are a medical professional. You realize every conceivable piece of life-sustaining technology money can buy. But you, being a hospice guy, he's close. He will not make it till morning.
Okay. I'll enter the room. I'll shut the door behind me.
So the act of dominating James Greenberg IV would have broken the obfuscate. So if you come in, you will be visible. Is that your intention?
Yes, I understand that. Yes.
When you come in and close the door, she looks up at you through tear-rimmed eyes, and she goes, "Are you from the funeral home?"
I am not from the funeral home. I am here to. You have a moment. You will not understand. But I have the opportunity in this moment to save your husband's life. I seek not your consent, but I want you to understand that this moment is going to happen.
I mean, what is this? The stem cells? Like we were told that he's past that. I don't
Understand that. I'm going to ask you, and I'll mesmerize her. No matter what you see, be quiet and don't leave this room.
She just blinks and looks at you and doesn't make a sound.
I just want to make sure, B, that I understand that I was asked to make sure he lives, which is to
make
me
sure he doesn't die. Which I will tell you again, as someone that lives in this world, you realize there's really two meaningful ways you can interpret that. You can give him some of your blood while he's still alive, which would make him what is called a ghoul, like Jimmy was at the temple. He would still be a biological human. He would gain some power and be largely immune to dying a natural death. It's possible, but the rate of aging is way slowed.
Mhm.
Or embrace him and turn him into a fellow kindred, and he would be just like you. He would spend eternity in a fairly frail body, but he would go about his nights.
I am not a fairly frail body.
No, you're yoke Santa. You're bad Santa. We established this. Yeah.
Does either in the game, does either cost me anything else? Does either cost me more or less?
You know, as a proud member of the Camarilla, two things. Theoretically, you'd need permission to create a child. That's neither here nor there. That might be its own set of problems for Dr. Rockwell down the road. The second thing, along with that, if you create him as your child, anything he does is your responsibility. The sins of the sins of the child are very much visited on the father. So were you to embrace him, it may cause you other problems down the road, but you do not innately lose anything in the act of creating a child, no, or creating a ghoul, no.
So in creating a ghoul, could I go back and ask him and choose to make him a child later?
You absolutely could. And
okay.
Making him a ghoul would extend his life past tonight.
Okay. So I am going to make him a ghoul. I'm going to, I don't know how this happens, but this is how it happens in my world. I'm going to take them. Yeah. Oh, that's him?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, again, death is imminent. You really, I mean, he's probably 90 pounds. You know, he's alive, but he's near the end.
Yeah. So I will, this is how I do it. I bite the inside of my lip, and I pool blood in my mouth, and I go down and kiss his near dead, fleshy, white flaked lips. And as I kiss him, I drool just a few drops of blood into his nearly dead mouth and watch his eyes pop open.
And they do, and you hear his lungs. And as his eyes widen, he looks at you with adoration in a way that all mortals who taste Kindred Vitae do, as the first step of a blood bond is formed. And he raises his wispy hand towards you, and he just says, "Master." And that's a good place for us to stop.
Oh, yeah. My shot. I like having a billionaire's child.
That's it. You have him under your thrall. That is true. Yep. Hey, Josiah Rockwell, mission accomplished.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Thank you for introducing me to the game of the vampire.
Just thank you for playing. Hopefully enjoyed it. Like you said, it's a little different than D&D.
Yeah, I like it. I like the storytelling aspect. I like the way I told you this after we played last time. I love the way you play games. I like how you're fully committed. You're fast. You're funny. You're articulate. You're a great storyteller. You understand the world. I feel like no matter what happens, you're yes-anding me every step of the way. And I feel like together, that story could have gone anywhere. I didn't feel like I was ever forced into anything, and you did a great job. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you for playing. Thank you for your first game of Vampire. You know, it's always good when you can have a first in this day and age.
Yeah. Well, listen, congratulations on your show. You have a new show.
Thank you for helping kick it off. No, I think this is gonna be fun. I think people are gonna enjoy getting to kind of see like the other side of things. Let me ask you one last curveball question. I know what I think about this because I spend a lot of time. I spend as much time thinking about the things I do as I do doing them, like thinking about the craft of storytelling or about the craft of playing games, things like that. Why do you think people play tabletop RPGs? Why is this even a pastime people engage in?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little in the break, but I always go back to, look, when we go to church, the same reason people go to church. People go to church to hear the word of the gospel, whatever that gospel is, but it's really to sit in community. It's to sit in fellowship with people like you and sing songs and have something that you share with other people. And so for me, the difference between playing Monopoly or a video game or, being on Zoom, although Zoom's great, is that it's sharing time with other people. And so for me, I always go back to that mankind was born around a fire telling stories. And I think that's still what we're doing. And that fellowship, that kinship, that friendship is the stuff that makes make life worthwhile. I mean, there's really nothing like it. And, I've always gotten shit for playing D&D, and, even in the most popular time that the game's ever had, there's still a whole series of people that sort of make fun of you as an adult 50-year-old man playing D&D. And I'm like, I pity people that don't understand how great these games are. I pity them that they don't have the kind of joy I have sitting around a table and sharing stories with people like you. I mean, to spend time with people that are incredible what they do is a gift. And I think you're incredible what you do, and it was a gift to spend time with you today.
Thanks, man. I was trying to say nice stuff about you, and you gave me a happy there. I will say again, everyone who watched, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate this. Again, do please send Matthew Lillard love on the socials and on the Twitters. He is supremely humble. So we have to remind him constantly that he is loved and appreciated. Oh, don't get me wrong. Everyone loves being reminded they're loved and appreciated, but he in particular, make sure you let him know that he is loved and appreciated. Where can they find you, sir? Again, Good Girls Tonight, NBC, right?
Yeah, I'm on Good Girls. And then I'm on Matthew Lillard on Instagram and Matthew Lillard on Twitter. And
Beetle and Grimm's.
Beetle and Grimm's. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Beetle and Grimm's is a company, just so if you don't know, it was born out of, I played D&D with the same guy since I was 20, and we had a midlife crisis and decided to start a company to build stuff that we love. And to this day, we've been around 3 years, 3-year anniversary is coming up, and we've never taken $1 out of the company to pay ourselves. Everything goes back into the company, and it's sort of like a labor of love, and it's awesome. So check it out.
Fantastic. And I will say now, you can catch us next week when we will have the great Jim Zub is on as well. And I'm not gonna tell you what Jim is playing. It's gonna be a secret, but we're gonna do this same time next week. So 1 o'clock, episode 2, Storyteller Circle. But in the meantime, you can only have one first, and I will always remember that was Matthew. So thank you, sir, and we'll see you all next week.
Yeah, much love, brother. Thank you.